So I'm here with Jonathan Sims and Sasha Sienna from MacGuffin&Co. How's it going, everyone?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Full on. This is our first convention, so feel very much like, oh, what is happening? But in a good way, I think.
Yeah, it is very much like having been punched in the face for 2 days, but really good.
So Odd Jobs is up for a UK Games Expo award for Best Role-Playing Game Adventure.
Odd Jobs.
Yes, so this is actually an anthology of 11 system-neutral micro-settings. So each one is a weird world that's like hyper-specific, who you are in that world, and then a campaign of 3 to 4 sessions, like 3 to 4 main adventures and ideas to spin it out if you want.
So rather than being like, here's a whole world, you can be whoever you want, it's like, no, you're running a skeezy casino in the sunken city of Atlantis. Or
you found me out. You found me out.
Or you're running, or your hospitality on a cruise ship that's been lost in the Bermuda Triangle for a year. Or what's another good one? I mean, they're all good.
I mean, they are all good, but so you play the familiars and magical construct of a wizard who's just died, and you have to weekend at Bernie's him so you don't get decommissioned.
Amazing.
So they're all like really specific and really weird and really compelling. And apparently the judges at UK Games Expo agree, because it's up for Best Role-Playing Game Adventure.
And so it should be. I mean, not that I'm obviously going to endorse it, but it's fucking cool.
You heard it here first. Phil endorses Odd Jobs.
And I'm going to have to press that thing on the YouTube now. Class it as an endorsement. I heard a really great sales pitch, actually, from your fellow on the stand about
Yes.
how you could use this if, for example, you have role-playing games on your shelf of shame.
Yeah, I mean, if you...
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
a shelf of what? I mean, obviously,
sorry.
I've played every one of the hundreds of role-playing games that I own.
I think it's pronounced charme.
Yeah.
It's a purveyor of fine shelving.
So we really love this as, honestly, it's just a good read. It's great for inspiration for if you do a lot of your own adventures or your own settings, and you just want a bit of a fun read and some ideas to take away.
And also, because it's system neutral, because you can adjust it to whatever system you want to run it in. Yeah, if you do have RPGs that you're like, I love this system, but I just don't know what to do with it, maybe use it to be gladiators in a magical ancient Rome, where resurrection potions mean that gladiatorial combat is basically pro wrestling. Or perhaps you could use it to try and pitch your new god, because you've got in on the ground floor of a hot new deity, and you're going to make it big, because big god is big business in startup culture.
So speaking of old gods, tell us about PitCrawler.
So, do you want to take this?
So PitCrawler, we've just finished funding on Indiegogo, and it's up for pre-order at the moment. But we've got the quick start guide here at the convention, and it is a 2-player role-playing game inspired by choose-your-own-adventure RPGs. So one player is the adventurer, and one player is choose-your-own-adventure game books.
Oh.
And one player is the adventurer, and one player is essentially the book. And there's no like canon lore, but there's principles for you to build your own world. Everything is ruled by wizards. You are not a wizard, you are a randomly rolled blacksmith or a pickpocket if you're lucky.
Or maybe a mare. Then you get a special mare's hat as one of your starting items.
Oh, a mayor.
A mare?
Not
Yes.
a mare.
Oh, no, not a mare. No, you could
be a mare.
Horse farmer.
Yeah, you could be a horse farmer. I mean, I'm not going to say that the wizards are all a thinly veiled metaphor for tech billionaires, because I hear that Elon Musk is quite litigious.
Yes, and others as well.
So it's definitely not satire of tech billionaires. But also, there's nothing that would stop you playing a horse.
Or a mare.
Or a mare. You could be a mare who's a mayor.
A mayoral mare.
You could.
That
It is
sounds
entirely
amazing.
possible. Mechanically, there is literally nothing stopping you. And also thematically, because you create the world. It's very much a world that is developed as you play between the player and the GM.
Right.
So it's really nice. Because it's 2-player, there's all sorts of stuff that we've been able to do that wouldn't really work in a group setting.
Yeah.
So one of it is that one of these things is there is this shared world that you gradually build out over the course of the adventures. So the GM will often create stuff, and at the end of each adventure, the player gets to choose one thing for continuity, which is this is an aspect of this adventure or this world I want to recur throughout the career of this PitCrawler. And there's also, like, we've got a thumbs mechanic, which is little save points. So because it's quite high lethality sometimes, like an old adventure game book, your adventure ends here. Because of that, but we didn't want people to be too risk averse. So just like in an old game book, you can just place your thumb on a page.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done this.
I've heard that people maybe sometimes place down thumbs. You can do similar. You have a certain you can pick how many thumbs you want at the start of an adventure, and before you do something stupid, you can be like, I'm going to put down my thumb. And if it all goes wrong, you can go back to that point. Again, that's a mechanic that would not work in a group setting because you got overlapping save points and this sort of thing.
But you'd have more thumbs.
But you'd have more thumbs. But but in a two-player game, like, you've got this freedom to experiment with a lot of really cool little ideas, which we're very proud of.
So this is just finished funding on Indiegogo. Very successful. We actually talked about it quite a lot on the Dark Orbs Kickstart Your Weekend. So feel free to go back and check out me basically gushing about this for half an hour.
I mean, it was a lovely review, so I would love it if you went back and checked out that review.
What's the next stages for it? Is there going to be any late backing, for example? Or?
So Indiegogo kind of puts everything into immediate pre-order once you're finished crowdfunding. So that's happened. It's available for pre-order because it's just finished funding. We've put a tentative, like, very conservative fulfillment date of April next year. Although we are expecting to fulfill quite significantly before that, but I don't want to make any promises just in case there's another massive shipping crisis or something.
It does happen. It does happen.
And if you're interested in checking it out, if you go to Indiegogo and search for PitCrawler, it is still it is there and available for pre-orders. I think it's igg.me/@/PitCrawler.
We'll flash that up. One last thing about PitCrawler. I presume it's now too late to get in on the amazing, exclusive deluxe edition. But do you want to talk about that just for a second?
Okay, so I love the deluxe edition, which is... Right. Obviously, a lot of crowdfunders come with this absolutely beautiful, like, cloth-bound, foil-edged tome.
Fraud jobs. Ooh.
That's very pretty. Very, very pretty.
But we thought that was absolutely antithetical to everything that PitCrawler was. What we really wanted to make was a dog-eared, just absolute trash paperback that stuffs in your pocket and is just the lowest production quality we could think of, with really minimal formatting and the thinnest paper you can think of, but we realized that wouldn't really be any good as a reference document.
Well, I was going to say, guaranteed unusable as a reference document.
So what we've decided to do is offer it as a deluxed version. So instead of a deluxe version at higher tiers, you get, you do get the standard hardback as well, so you can actually play the game. But as a collector's item, just to read and enjoy, you get guaranteed the worst paperback we can make.
And I can imagine that's actually surprisingly expensive.
Yes, thank you for noticing. It is costing us more than the actual hardback, yes.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me, Sasha. John, hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, then please hit like and subscribe and all that stuff. But more importantly, buy their stuff because it's cool. Take care, everyone.
MacGuffin&Co.com. Thank you.
Hopefully that turned out, because that was
Thank
cool.
you very much.